Video game has a history of more than 53 years, since 1967. It's really a long time. 53 years is far from our imagination. And 53 years is actually a long time, long time, longer than many familiar appliances. So think about this. Intel, the CPU company, was established in 1968. The first Walkman was in 1970. Contact lens, 1971. Even the first Nintendo FC was in 1983. LCD TV, DVD players. Anyhow, they are younger than esports. So I'm saying this just to give example that esports gaming, they have a very long history already. But if we search the esports, these keywords through the Google trend, you can see in Taiwan for the past years, since 2004, it's very obvious that the keywords esports rise from around like 10 years ago. So this is true. Video game has a 53 years history. However, esports has a 10 years experience. And there's some difference between esports and video games. So I'm talking about the tiny difference between the two. So what is gaming and what is esports? If we use a technology perspective, I can say esports is esports 4.0 is the latest format of gaming. Later on, we'll address this from different perspectives, from cultural perspective, from other perspectives. So this is from technical perspective. So the very first game or esports is a competition between human and computer. So we call it esports 1.0. And then for esports 2.0, it's internet-enabled gaming. So it's like 20 years ago. Some of the video game or some of the esports game, they support internet connections through modem. That was 20 years ago. And then moving to esports 3.0, it's actually moving to 21st century. It's like early 2000 years. At that time, no matter it's console game, mobile game, or PC game, it's already support real-time internet connection. So the game becomes human versus human competition. So that is the beginning of the esports. And then moving into now, which is esports 4.0, I call it deep gaming. So this deep gaming, also thanks to the modern technology like 5G and the internet technology, compete real time is very simple and easy. So we can do anything in this video game world. So no matter we can do social immersive experience and even make it professional and entertainment, real entertainment through streaming and other experience. So this is deep gaming. And now if we approach this esports from a startup perspective, it will be even more interesting, and that will also echo a lot of points from Mr. Miyomi Tong. So this is an emerging industry path. Usually when emerging industry arise, you will go through all the different four phases or paths. So first of all, starting from startups. So there will be new jobs and new companies coming out. And then those new companies, they will have a lot of financial activities. A lot of them are fundraising through the financial sectors. So those banks will be very busy and they will know what are the new industry coming out. And if this new industry survives because of those resources and funding, the next thing will be the education sector has to provide talent at massive scale. So that also echo the points that for schools today, they have to provide new talent that understand how to do character generation, how to do copyright, how to do coding, all these kind of new skills. And the very last thing is the government sector. The government has, in the last stage, government has to, when government see this new industry is established, the government has to come out policy and investment. Investment usually comes to, refers to budget to support the emerging industry. So in the next several pages, I'm going to talk about share from our perspective through these 4 different stages. So esports itself is definitely a new industry, and the innovation is DNA rooted in gaming and esports. So this information is on the left-hand side. It's from CB Insight. So today, there are more than 70 companies doing esports and gaming startup. They're very new. So some examples including like Steam. Steam has a history around like 20 years. That's an old one in the esports industry. However, if we look at Discord or Twitch, those 2 companies are big one, and their company history is around only less or around 10 years. So this gives us the example that esports is a fast-growing startup and emerging industry. And then when we talk about the financial sectors, hot monies are moving to the esports. On the upper left, that is equity research from Goldman Sachs. The title for that is From Wild West to Mainstream. This is from Goldman Sachs. So when Goldman Sachs said esports is moving from Wild West to mainstream, that really means something. And down we see like in Asia, there's a private equity for esports. And on the upper right, the Barron's magazine, they have a title, a report on ETF for esports, of course. And today there are like 4 or 5 ETF focused on esports today in the world. And for Bloomberg, there's a report that's early last year. Australis, it's an esports team, is about to go IPO. And so imagine this, an esports team, they usually, a professional esports team probably have a staff of like 100 or 200 at most. And with such a scale of like 100, 200 people, and that can go IPO, that really means something. That means every staff in the team can really make good profit and revenue. So that makes sense for the esports team to go IPO. And then we move into the education sector. Today in the US is a leading esports country. We see for the leading universities like UC Berkeley, today they offer scholarship for talent kids. And now there's a report in Chinese saying, well, today for the kids in the US, their parents are helping them to find a esports or video game tutor just to help them to get into college and apply for the scholarship. We understand in the US, when people want to apply for the college, they have to take a standardized test like SAT. In the meantime, they also have to provide some extracurricular activities. So a lot of people do like musical instruments, scout. Those are the traditional ones. But today, if you are a professional esports player, that can help you to get scholarship